When I was a kid, my mom and I made this deal. I was allowed to take 3 mental health rest days every semester as long as I continued to do well in school. This was because I started my mental health journey when I was only 6 years old. I was always what my grade school teachers would call a warrior. But later on, we found out that I have trauma induced anxiety and clinical depression. This made growing up pretty hard. I was worried about a lot of things that other kids weren't. And school got really overwhelming sometimes. This resulted in a lot of breakdowns, panic attacks. Sometimes I was super productive, and other days I couldn't get anything done. This was all happening during a time when mental health wasn't being talked about as much as it is now, especially youth mental health. Some semesters I used all of those rest days to the fullest. Others, I didn't need any at all. But the fact that they were always an option is what kept me a happy, healthy, and successful student. Now I am using those skills that I learned as a kid to help other students with mental health challenges. I'm here today to offer you some insight into the world of teenage mental health. What's going on? How did we get here? And what can we do? But first, you need to understand that while not everyone has a diagnosed mental illness like I do, absolutely everyone. All of you have mental health. All of us have a brain that needs to be cared for in similar ways that we care for our physical well-being. Our head and our body are connected by much more than just our neck after all. Mental illness even manifests itself in some physical ways, such as nausea, headaches, fatigue, and shortness of breath. So since mental health affects all of us, shouldn't we be coming up with solutions that are accessible to all of us? That brings me to my second part of my story. When I was in high school, I had gotten pretty good at managing my own mental health. I was a successful student, and I was president of the Oregon Association of Student Councils. But it was around this time that I began to realize mental health was a much bigger problem than just for me personally. Unfortunately, my hometown was touched by multiple suicides during my first year in high school. I saw those tragedies shake our entire community. And as a president of the statewide group, I began hearing more and more stories from students where this had also happened in their towns. So in 2018, at our annual summer camp, we held a forum with about 100 high school students to discuss teenage and mental health. What could we do? We approached this conversation with an enormous amount of empathy and honesty. And the results were outstanding. What struck me the most that was that very single one of my peers had a story about a mental health crisis in their school. No matter if they were from a tiny town in eastern Oregon or the very heart of the Portland. This was happening everywhere. We even did some research, and we found out that suicide is the second leading cause of death for youth ages 10 to 24 in Oregon. The second leading cause, we knew we had to do something. So over the next few months, we made a committee called Students for a Healthy Oregon, and we set out to end the stigma against mental health. We also wanted to prioritize mental health in schools. With the help of some lobbyists and a few mental health professionals, we put forth House Bill 2191. This bill allows students to take mental health days off from school, the same way you would a physical health day. Because oftentimes, the day off is the difference between feeling a whole lot better and a whole lot worse. Kind of life those days my mom gave me when I was younger.